and today I'm going to be talking about pushing a live dynamic rubric Google Sheet into a Google Slide for group projects. I use this when I don't want to fill out a separate rubric for 150 kids. If they were in groups of 5, then I can just assign this rubric and the one project to one student like I did here. I assigned it to myself. I am the only student. When you do this, when you assign it, so in their group, I know who their groups are, so I only assign it to the group leader, whoever that may be. I assign it to them. I give them a template to put it in the Google Slide as well as their rubric. You need to make sure that over here, and this is kind of an advanced video, so I'm going to assume we know how to do this. Check the box that says each student will get a copy, and then set up your how-to videos and all this stuff. Okay, so this is already all in the Google Classroom. I set it up ahead of time. What we're going to want to do is end up with something that kind of looks like this, so that when you grade it and check the boxes, let's say they did bad on that part and really good on this part. All right, so that when they check the boxes, we get over here, each one of them can get into this and look at it and see what their grade was. You could also leave comments and stuff down here if you want. One of the first things you need to know is how I set up this page. How I set up this page was I went into page setup. It normally is one of the regular ones, the wide screens, etc. But 20 by 11 inches is a nice size. So I'm going to show you how I do this. So in the students section, this is what they're going to see. Okay, when they open up their assignment, okay, right now it looks like this, but I would have a blank one for them. Okay, so I'm going to show you over here. Okay, this is what it would send them. It would send them just a blank one. Right now, though, it looks like that. But it sends them this blank document, and we can do this over here. We don't need to have this open. Same way with this. It'll send them a blank one, which will be their very own. So how the students get that information from one spot to the other. Let's go ahead and set these back to 0. It's actually a pretty straightforward thing, okay? And now we can see that we update right here. Is actually a pretty straightforward thing. So we go right here. This is what it will look like when you give it to them. This is what this would look like if it wasn't me. Right here, the video part is very easy. They go insert video. Let's say they have whatever video it is that they made. Doesn't matter. They go to insert that video and hit select. If it's from their Google Drive, you might have to upload it. It doesn't really matter. Then they make it whatever size it needs to be to fit on here. And this is just fine. So the next part is a little more difficult, but not super hard. So what the student will have to do is maybe watch this video and know that they need to select all of these. So I will go from there to there, hold down Shift, and hit that. I then hit Control-C on my keyboard. Over to here, find a spot, hit Control-V. You need to make sure that it says link to spreadsheet, okay? If you click paste unlinked, your grading will not show up on it. So we hit link to spreadsheet and hit paste. There is the spreadsheet. The students will then move it over here like this, and that is the basic gist of it. You now have a dynamic rubric that is linked inside of here. Now you cannot change it in here. Yeah, actually you can, but it doesn't do the things that it's supposed to do, even if you click on this. It kind of looks like it should, but it does not. And it changes a little bit of your formatting sometimes. It's not quite as pretty. However, all the students can see it, and I don't have to fill out 5 rubrics for a group of 5 students. So here's what ends up happening. Once again, I get into their rubric, and this one would be theirs, and I give them a score. Let's say they did really good this time, so we'll give them all 10s. Maybe 1 9. They had a little trouble with that part, And on this one, I did have peer review, so we would have to do a separate one for that. So they got a 98%. And what it would look like on here when they got it is it would just update itself. So that is a real quick on how to push an active rubric into a slide. And what this is really handy for as well is if you want to, when I grade, a lot of the time I grade on two separate screens. So I could go on here and watch the video with this dynamic rubric pulled up, and then on another screen have the actual rubric itself pulled up on a different screen so that I can grade it and then make sure that it all got pushed through the way it was supposed to get pushed through. And then the kids can sit there and watch the video and see what they got and, do it in real time. Another trick that I like to use is I like to have them grade themselves before they even push this through, so that I don't even have to open up the rubric half of the time, because the students will do a nice job of grading themselves. So before they even turn it in the Google Classroom, before they hit the button turn in over here, they will have this already filled out and graded. That's a nice tool to force them to read the rubric. I know a lot of the time they don't read it, so it will force them to read the rubric. They look at all this stuff, and then the grade is in there. And a lot of the time I agree with them, more than 50%. Probably more like 70 or 80% of the time I agree with them. And more often than not, when I don't agree with them, it's because they're too harsh on themselves. So that is how to push a live dynamic rubric Google Sheet into a Google slide for group projects.